on the CTV News at 5. Road repair work gets underway in Lethbridge in February. Plus, Ottawa responds to the Premier's threats to withhold funding unless they have a say on judge appointments. And recognizing World Cancer Day.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. We're glad you could join us. The above seasonal temperatures have once again returned to southern Alberta, while the constant change in temperatures this winter is posing challenges to the city's infrastructure. It is allowing crews to complete some necessary repairs on potholes ahead of spring. Carson Marsouk reports.
It's not the typical sound city crews are used to in the winter, but above seasonal temperatures have allowed the city's asphalt plant to be fired up.
Even during nice winter weather, our city crews are out creating value for the taxpayer, fixing roads.
The city recycles asphalt after it's been dug up and is used during the winter. It runs through this machine, which heats it up and breaks it down for crews to fill potholes with.
The key with potholes is always you don't want water in there standing. So when it's dry, we can operate this operation at up to minus 10 degrees. This weather is ideal, right, to do this work.
While the changing weather has been welcomed by many, it has caused havoc for the city's roads.
This warm-cold cycle, that's really hard because now all the water melted, seeped into these little cracks, and then when it freezes again, or even at night when it gets colder, that creates this expanding of the crack, loosening of the asphalt, and the people driving on it, and that's just not ideal for our roads.
From the plant, the material is then taken by truck to different areas of the city for crews to use. Because the material is recycled, the city says it won't have to repair those holes in the spring.
Instead of using cold patches that wear out really quickly, especially in high traffic areas, this product holds up really well. It binds with the existing asphalt, and we don't have to go back and fix.
The city receives about 800 repair requests every year for its 580 kilometers of road infrastructure.
This is minor road maintenance to make the roads last longer and not need major repairs.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Residents and motorists can report potholes by calling 311 or on the city's website. Now, the above seasonal weather has also led to Lethbridge experiencing one of its driest Januaries on record. Despite the low moisture amounts in the forecast, the region may not experience any significant drought this summer. Quinn Keenan explains.
After a cold and snowy December, most of southern Alberta experienced a warm and dry January. Several days saw heat records broken, with temperatures approaching 20 degrees. The average daytime high for January is 0.
As you moved into January, we did see a noticeably drier month. Only 2.9 millimeters this January of precipitation, when you usually see about 11. So it actually makes it the 5th driest January you've had on record.
Those mild conditions appear to be sticking around. The next 10 days are expected to have daytime highs well above 0. Cooler temperatures may return towards the end of the month.
Our forecast looking fairly warm for the region as we head through the next week. Some models indicating maybe a bit of a cool down by the end of the month.
Despite the lack of moisture, the city of Lethbridge so far isn't concerned about drought in the spring and summer. The mountains have been seeing snow and are sitting with an above average snowpack. The reservoirs feeding into Lethbridge are at average to above average levels.
The snow situation in the mountains and in the reservoir, the water volumes in the reservoirs, are looking really well. The Old Man Reservoir is sitting about 64% full right now, which is up into the normal range.
Reservoirs aren't a concern, but there is some worry about groundwater. A lack of snow across the prairies have left the ground in many areas very dry.
If there's water in the river, that's one thing, but if the land is dry, that still impacts farmers and ranchers and could cause fires.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The dry conditions have resulted in several fire restrictions being issued for the area. Vulcan County, along with the MDs of Willow Creek and Pincher Creek, are currently under fire restrictions. The municipalities say lack of precipitation combined with high temperatures have significantly increased the fire risk. A fire ban remains in effect for Lethbridge's River Valley. A full list of restrictions and advisories can be found at albertafireban.ca. Danielle Savoni is here to talk about the warm temperatures. And while I love them, Danielle, my house is a disaster because of taking my dogs to the dog park and then bringing them home and muddy paws and
It is a tricky one to deal with. Yes, if you have pups, then this is messy for you. Don't wear your best shoes out there for the rest of this week as the melting continues. Also some icy spots in some spots, and it's a tricky walking on the sidewalks, on some roads, driving. Yeah, it's a bit messy, let's be honest. But this ridge of high pressure is setting itself up. We still have the cloud cover. We even have some isolated pockets of rainfall. Short term, nothing really significant. We also have these very gusty conditions as we talked about today, all predominantly out of the west, and that's what's getting our temperatures up to this. In the mid-teens, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat. More warmth coming up. Jackie?
All right, thank you, Danielle. The Alberta government will review the intersection where 3 junior hockey players died in a car crash earlier this week.
The Edmonton Oilers Hockey Club, along with its players and fans, mourn the loss of Cameron, JJ, and Caden.
The Edmonton Oilers and Toronto Maple Leafs joined the hockey world in honoring the 3 young players last night with a moment of silence before their game. JJ Wright, Cameron Casero, and Caden Fine died Monday when their car collided with a semi-truck while crossing a divided highway on the way to practice. People living in the community of Staveley say the young men were deeply embedded in their community, an experience many hockey players relate to.
Something that touches close to home. You know, three guys heading to practice. You know, obviously, just tragic.
I know there are no words that can make this loss less brutal. Your sons mattered.
RCMP say at this point they do not believe any criminal charges will be laid. The province says it will examine traffic and collision data from the intersection to determine if improvements are needed. The review is standard practice after a fatal accident. Premier Danielle Smith is calling for Alberta to have more input into judicial appointments, and she's threatening to withhold funding unless Alberta has more say. Right now, there are 3 vacancies on Alberta's Court of King's Bench. Smith wants to create a new committee with half the appointees from Alberta to vet justices. She says the appointments would help reflect Alberta's distinct legal traditions. The federal justice minister responded to the idea this morning.
It's essential that we have a judiciary who's able to make decisions without fear or favor amongst those who have the power to appoint or, in theory, remove a judge from the bench. When you start to look at how you can protect that independence, certainly ensuring that there's not political threats about the resources that are going to be made available to them to do their jobs as part of it. But another part is actually have integrity in the appointment process to begin with.
Smith is also calling for bilingualism requirements to be relaxed for federal appointees. The provincial government is warning Albertans the next budget will be a tough one. The budget will be delivered February 26th. Finance Minister Nate Horner says lower than anticipated oil prices, global uncertainty, and a growing population are putting a strain on Alberta's finances. In the province's fiscal update in November, the deficit was estimated at $6.4 billion. A plan to add doctors to emergency rooms to help triage patients has been delayed. Hospitals Minister Matt Jones announced the rule last month. It came after the death of a man who waited for hours for care at the Grey Nuns emergency room in Edmonton. The program was supposed to start over the weekend. The head of the Alberta Medical Association says doctors want to participate, but there are issues to be worked out, including pay, billing, liability, and paperwork. A spokesperson for the minister says they continue to work with the AMA and recruitment for the role is ongoing. Whirling disease in the Oldman River is a major threat to fish, but now the University of Calgary is developing an artificial intelligence model to detect it. Alberta Environment and Parks reached out to researcher Pumera Ramiza in 2018 to find an economical way to predict where whirling disease could occur in southern Alberta. He was having a hard time collecting data and testing water soil samples from the vast Old Man River Basin. Ramise and his team came up with an AI model using readily available data on weather and river flows without added staff.
What was surprising, though, was that even with very few samples, like just one sample, still it got like 70% AUC, which is a measure for accuracy. And that means the model was somehow able to find from those augmented environmental measurements patterns that it found likely for the disease to be established or to be already existing there.
Whirling disease was first detected in Banff National Park in 2016. It is caused by a microscopic parasite found in salmon, trout, and whitefish that causes them to swim in circles. It can be devastating to fish populations here and all over the world. If you have Toys R Us gift cards, you are running out of time to use them. Tuesday, the struggling retailer filed for bankruptcy creditor protection, meaning anyone with a gift card has until February 16th to use it. Going out of business signs have been set up at the Toys R Us location near Park Place Mall. Last year, the location was put up for sale with a price tag of $15 million. There is no information about how many employees are affected or when the final day of business will be. Lethbridge's largest annual summer festival is getting some major recognition. Country Music Alberta has announced that the 2025 edition of Whoop Up Days is a finalist for the live event or presenting series of the year, Large Market Award. Excite Lethbridge says over the recent years, it's put a focus on increasing music options, including local artists. The other nominees for the award include the Calgary Stampede, Country Thunder, Alberta, and Big Valley Jamboree. The 15th annual Country Music Alberta Awards will take place on March 22nd. On the other side of this break, Danielle is back with the 5-day forecast. Plus, on World Cancer Day, we hear the remarkable story of one man's battle and remission.
Here's our Skycam about an hour ago, facing west, and today a lot of cloud cover. Chinook Arch in many communities. Tomorrow, less cloud cover, more sunshine, and in many communities, even a little warmer. The winds will be a little gustier. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, 15 degrees is the temperature right now in Pincher Creek. Not a bad way to start off early February. Of course, it's nice to be out there. It's nicer walking the dogs because you don't have to layer up with 10 different layers, but it's also a slushy mess, so don't wear your best stuff out there. 16 degrees in Lethbridge, 15 in Brooks, 18 in Medicine Hat. Likely some broken records here. All right, it's been very gusty today, as we talked about. 81 is where we maxed out so far in Pincher Creek, closer to 70 in Lethbridge, and just over 40 in Medicine Hat. Let's fast forward to tomorrow. It will still be a windy day tomorrow, but not as windy. 60 km/h gusts for Pincher Creek, 50 for Lethbridge, 40 for Medicine Hat. Brooks up to Drumheller. All right, radar showing you a lot of cloud cover. We even have some isolated pockets of showers, most of that evaporating before it even hits the ground, but there may be a couple raindrops that make its way down. But it is so dry out there. These clouds will clear out. The ridge sets itself up. This is, yeah, lots of sunshine, lots of warmth over the coming days here. The jet stream still all the way up into the territories. We're going to be on the south side of the jet stream for the rest of this week, and that means we'll continue to get that push of warm air from the south. Now, the warmest will be these next few days, and then we'll start to regulate a little bit. Futurecast showing you the clouds clearing out under that ridge of high pressure. There will be still some cloudy periods at times. No moisture in our forecast, that's for sure. All right, 2 degrees overnight in East Kootenay, getting up to a high of 10 for tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. Crozes Pass 5 overnight, getting up to at least 16 tomorrow. Winds tamer, 80 km/h gusts right through much of tonight even, then calming down to 60 for tomorrow. Medicine Hat 6 overnight, getting up to 18 tomorrow. 50 km/h gusts down to 40 for tomorrow, and a good chunk of sunshine for tomorrow as well. Looking at the Lethbridge area, 50 km/h gusts, mainly sunny skies, 19 degrees. If we hit 19 degrees tomorrow, that breaks a record. All right, 15 for Friday. So holding on to the teens in through Friday and to kick off the weekend as well, and lots of sunshine. This will dry things up and make the dog parks maybe a little more manageable come the weekend. And as you can see, even through Sunday and Monday, while we won't be in the teens, we're still going to be quite warm out there. Double digits for Sunday, so be prepared for a very spring-like weekend. And then 6 degrees to kick off next week with more cloud cover, small chance of some light precipitation.
Today marks World Cancer Day, and an Ottawa man is sharing how a unique treatment helped save his life. It allowed him to receive chemotherapy 24/7 and successfully brought his cancer into remission. CTV's Leah LaRocque has that story.
You should consider yourself to be in complete remission.
Those are the words that Ted Wagstaff was always determined to hear.
Complete remission. Pretty powerful.
Last spring, the Ottawa business investor and father of 3 started to feel unwell.
I was on a business trip, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I thought I had food poisoning.
But the diagnosis was far more severe.
I knew it was rare, I knew it was aggressive, and it's a deadly subtype.
He had multiple tumors. One was the size of a sweet potato.
I had double-hit lymphoma.
Typical chemotherapy wasn't going to be enough. His personalized treatment involved a backpack so he could receive chemotherapy 24/7.
I would get literally a backpack with chemo in it and a pump. Every day I would go back to the hospital to get a new bag of chemo. I would sleep with it, I would shower with it, go for a walk, just that my chemo backpack went everywhere with me.
His doctor says Wagstaff's journey shows the groundbreaking cancer work being done right here in Ottawa.
That sense of cancer not being one disease and patients not all being the same. And we are slowly, but we are definitely moving into a circumstance where we're not looking at one recipe that we apply to every patient. We're taking the patient's own biology and their specific type of cancer into consideration.
In total, I did 487 hours of chemotherapy.
Halfway through Wagstaff's treatment, he welcomed his first grandson, and 5 weeks after chemo, he completed a Tough Mudder endurance race. Now in remission, Wagstaff says his positive prognosis is largely because of this small backpack that carried the hope he needed.
I will never find the words to say thank you. I just won't, So I have immense gratitude for the Ottawa Hospital and what they did for me.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
Meanwhile, alarming data from a new study says ultra-processed foods like pop and sweets are, quote, carefully engineered to encourage consumption and should be regulated like cigarettes. In the peer-reviewed journal, the Millbank Quarterly, the study looked at the design, marketing, and distribution of ultra-processed foods and how they mirror tactics used by the tobacco industry. The findings argue that these foods that come with serious health risks should be considered addictive as they optimize craving, rapid intake, and repeated use. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, we are just days away from the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics. We look at preparations next. The Medicine Hat Tigers are in action tonight with a midweek matchup against the Edmonton Oil Kings. Tonight will mark the 6th meeting between the two this season. Tigers won 7-3 in their last meeting back on January 16th. Medicine Hat is 5 points clear of the Oil Kings with a Central Division lead. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock at Co-op Place. The opening ceremony kicks off this Friday at the Milano Cortina Winter Games, and excitement is already sky high for athletes, families, and fans. But the weather so far has been less than golden. Heather Butts reports.
A constant rain soaking the city, turning popular landmarks into a sea of umbrellas. In the north, it meant snow for the mountain regions just in time for the global event, drawing Olympic fans from around the world, including the Grandillo family from Montreal.
This is the 30th birthday trip, kind of a bucket list item for us. The opening ceremonies are on my birthday, on my 30th birthday, and being Italian, it just seemed like the most fitting event.
Though they expected more Olympic flair to be flooding the streets, not rain.
To be honest, it's not really in your face. We do see it here and there at corners, but we haven't really captured that vibe yet. I'm sure it's coming though.
Their sights set on snowboarding and hockey. With the games spread out, Milan will only see part of the action.
Per il momento no.
No?
No.
Few crowds right now, he says, but they are expected. Organizers say all competition venues are fully operational. Still, construction at the hockey rink isn't complete.
Do we have every single space in that venue finished? No. And is it absolutely needed for the games? No.
Aside from the main facilities, there are sure signs something monumental is about to happen here, drawing more than just regular tourists.
Here's something else adding to the energy. Media from around the world, such as myself, here to cover this event. Take a look at the rooftop studios using the historic Duomo as a backdrop.
We only just got here and we were like, wow, everything's Olympics. It's great. It's so much fun. I love it.
The organizing committee is pointing to the torch relay as a driver for national excitement.
This is fun to be in an environment with like thousands of people and all here for just one simple reason. It's fun.
That momentum is also reflected in demand from spectators, with roughly 1.2 million event tickets already sold and only a limited number remaining for the opening ceremony. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan.
Heated Rivalries' Connor Story is heading to New York City. Connor will host SNL on February 28th. SNL has already taken on Heated Rivalry with its Heated Wizardry sketch. Now they will welcome one of the show's co-stars. The musical guest will be Mumford & Sons. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. Collar cams are offering a bird's eye view of grizzlies on Alaska's northern slopes. We're getting unique views of Alaska's North Slope thanks to some unlikely photographers. Those photographers would be grizzly bears. 12 bears have been outfitted with video collars in order to shoot footage for researchers. They'll be able to observe the bears playing, fighting, hunting, and eating. This area of Alaska is remote territory for any grizzly bear, and while the framing isn't perfect, researchers think it will still be valuable. Would you be able to relax while doing this? A group of people took to the icy waters near Moscow for some ice floating. The suits they're wearing preserve body heat and involve spending 20 to 40 minutes in the water. On this day, the air temperatures were about minus 20 degrees Celsius. Ice floating is meant to be relaxing, and some people say the suits make it feel like they're in a sauna. Not in the mood for romance this Valentine's Day, maybe? Well, 2 BC animal shelters are offering some unusual fundraisers, allowing people to get a little revenge on their ex while helping animals in need.
For just $25, we'll enter your ex's name into a draw to name one of our rescue kittens after your ex. Then the rescue kitten will be spayed or neutered in honor of your ex, because some things shouldn't breed.
Tom.
It's all part of the Regional Animal Protection Society's Neuter Your Ex campaign, and it's not the only charity putting a spin on Valentine's Day. The Northern Spotted Owl Breeding Program is bringing back its No Regrets campaign. For a minimum donation of $5, you can name a rat after an ex before it's fed to an owl. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.